It's AFEX time now. We want to give you, a summary of what the market looked like in the past week. And we can tell you that in the last trading week, there were mixed performances across key indicators. Turnover rose by 48.63%, closing the week at 4.34 billion naira from 2.92 billion naira in the last trading week. A number of volume rose by 36.86%, while number of deals traded went down 12.31%, closing the week at 114 from 130 in the last trading week. The AFEX commodity index rose by 4.28%, and AFEX export index rose by 0.05%, closing at 228.82 from 228.70. The volume of contracts traded, let's go there now. We see that it increased the volume across paddy rice, sorghum, cocoa, cashew nuts, and wheat. Now let's look at the price across the crops. We start with wheat. Wheat closed at 500 naira after adding 31.58%. That's about 120 naira, and this is for a kg. Maize is next. There closed at 366.83 naira after adding 17.04%, and that's 53.40. Soybean also, a lot of crops we see went up. 8.29% increase to close at 341 naira 5 kobo, and that's an increase of 26 naira 10 kobo. Cashew nut closed at 538 naira 83 kobo after it went up 1.91%, and that's equal to about 10 naira. Cocoa, cocoa we know went down a bit during the week, but at the close of trade for the week, it's closed at 1,887 naira 50 kobo after adding 4 naira 87 kobo. Paddy rice was, however, on the flip side. It dropped 1.20% to close at 349 naira 1 kobo for a kilogram. That's a minus 34 kobo. Sesame was unchanged for the week, still closed at 1,247 naira 57 kobo. And also ginger unchanged, less than 1,000 naira for a kilogram, 989 naira 83 kobo. Sorghum also is in that category. It was unchanged for the week at 300 naira. No movement we see there. And also, if you want more information, AFEX will always tell you, please go to their website or follow them on their social media handles to get more information on that. Well, another thing you can know about AFEX is the issue of data protection. They're interested in this, as I think some people say this is a new oil and gas. Well, AFEX is also interested in this, and the Nigerian Protection Act was recently passed in June 2023 to safeguard fundamental human rights. We've had that conversation here a couple of times, and AFEX has some things to do with this. That's why we have Oladipupo Mutiu Eluyera, an analyst legal from AFEX, joining us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, and thank you so much for your time.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, so one will first of all ask, what's AFEX doing with data protection? We thought you were interested in food and crops.
So, essentially, the Nigerian Data Protection Act represents the first national legislation on data privacy and protection. And by the virtue of the fact that every capital market participant in one way or the other processes personal data, so this law applies to you. So whether you are a capital market participant or you are in fintech or whatever, so long as you are processing personal data, this law essentially applies to you. So it was enacted as a means of creating safeguards for the security and privacy of every personal data processed within the country and the personal data of Nigerians processed outside the nation. So by enacting this law, the government seeks to empower individuals to have better control over their personal information and to also ensure that business entities, in which AFEX also is also inclusive, and other organizations act responsibly when collecting, storing, using, or processing personal data. And to buttress a bit, as Nigeria as a nation continues to embrace data transformation, and as we continue to witness rapid increase in internet connectivity on a daily basis, unfortunately, occurrences of data breaches have also intensified and tripled in nature. So, in fact, according to a recent global report by a cybersecurity firm, Surfshark, which revealed that in just the first quarter of 2023 only, Nigerian companies have witnessed 82,000 occurrences of data breaches. That number is quite alarming and overwhelming. So, and it's upon these premises that the government has enacted this law in order to create proactive measures to ensure safety of personal data.
And so I'm sure investors in the capital market will want to know directly how this concerns them, how it protects them, or what they benefit from it, as well as, the capital market also.
Okay. So talking about the benefit of this law, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact of enhanced trust. So owing to the fact that the law mandates every data controller and data processor in which capital market participants are also part of them, because every capital market participant at one point or the other processes personal data. So once you implement that, it would in turn create greater confidence in investors about the security and the privacy of the personal data and the financial information in which they are supplying a capital market participant. And ultimately, that would foster trust and also encourage greater participation in the Nigerian capital market by potential investors. And on the other hand, these acts would positively impact the reputation of Nigerian capital market, owing to the fact that this law aligns capital market participants with international best practices on data privacy and protection. So it will give the Nigerian capital market the reputation of a market that is data conscious, secure, and reliable investment destination. And what this ultimately benefits us is by attracting capital flow from both local and foreign investors who prioritize data privacy in their daily operations.
All right, so, but how can the regulator ensure compliance, for these benefits to come through?
Thank you for that insightful question, Ini. We all understand the fact that what determines the impact of a law is not merely the content of its provisions, but the compliance with its provisions and the enforcement of its provisions by the regulator who is to administer the law. So when we talk about stakeholder compliance, the first point that belabours in mind is stakeholder engagement. That is, when a law has been passed, it is very paramount that the regulator who is to administer this law engages the stakeholder and make them understand that there's a new sheriff in town, and there's a need for every organization, regardless of your size, to cooperate with the government and to carry out compliance as a matter of statutory requirements. And this can be done through public awareness campaigns, conferences, symposia. I can remember that in 2020, Lamido Yuguda, the SEC commissioner, organized a webinar alongside National Information Technology Development Agency on this same matter, data privacy. So this can also be replicated by the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, which is a new regulator for administering this law. Secondly, the NDPC, which is the regulator for this, the regulator to administer this law, can organize capacity building programs for data protection officers in different organizations. And also, they can also develop implementation frameworks to create clarity on the gray and confusing and blurry areas of this law. Because there are actually some areas of this law that are quite uncertain. So they can be backed up by implementation frameworks to create clarity on those provisions.
All right, thank you so much, Oladipupo Eluyera, the analyst from Legal Department of AFEX. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ini. I appreciate it.
Let's take a breather. We'll be back.